A tea party. Nick looked through the doors of the tea room in the Empress Hotel. Miss Hutton sat at a table with a man. The man was about 30, or maybe a year or two younger. He was tall and brown from the sun. He wore a white shirt. Why? He said something to Meg and he left. He looked very happy. And waiter came up to Lick. Can I get you some tea? He asked. No thanks, said Lick. I'm with the two people over there. And he walked across to Meg's table. Hello, Mr. Girl, said Lick. Remember me? We met at Whistler. Your name was Jan then. But maybe today is Meg Hudson. Meg Hudson looked up at him. Oh, she said, and her face went red. Who is this Meg? Asked the man. This is Lick, said Meg. He's a writer. Lick, this is Grey Winters. Sometimes called Mr. Hollywood, said Lick. Maybe, but how did you know that? I Grey Winters, I guessed, said Lick, and I think I'm beginning to understand. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Winters? Does somebody want to kill you? Grey Winters' face went white. Kill me? What are you talking about? Asked Meg. Before I tell you, answer this question, please, said Lick. You called me Mr. Hollywood in winter, and you wanted the man at the lake table, the man with the white hair, to hear you. Is that right? Meg Hudson did not answer at first. Then she said quietly, Yes. Why? Asked Lick. I wanted him for you and not me. Why? Lick asked again. I think he's a detective, said Meg, and I think he's working for my father. I saw him soon after I left Toronto. He followed me. Meg put her hand on Grey Winter's arm. My father doesn't like cry. A month ago, he told me not to see again. I'm not happy, and he knows that. I think he guessed that I'm making cry. And now he wants to find cry and stop him. Stop him sadly or kill him. No, Meg Saxon said. Daddy doesn't. The man with white hair pushed me in front of a car in Vancouver. Lick saw her and he shot at me in Stanley Park. What? Said Meg. Tell me about this man with white hair, Winter said suddenly. Lick looked at him. He's about 60, and he's tall and thin. He said, Do you know his name? Asked Winter Vicker, said Lick. Grey Winter suddenly looked ill. Did he? Did he follow you to Victoria? Did he follow him here? I don't know, said Lick. He watched Winter jaw fire up him. Why? Why does this man Vicar want to kill you, Winters? Before Gray Winters could answer, Meg's face went white. Oh no, she said. Look, look over there, by the door. Lick and Grey Winter turned to look. At the door of the tea room stood the man with white hair. He looked up and down the room, and then he saw them and began to walk across to the table. Their table, his hand was in his pocket. For a second or two, the three people at the table did not move. Then Grey Winter jumped to his feet. "That's Mr. Hollywood!" he screamed. "That man there!" And he pointed at Lick. The man's hand came out of his pocket with a gun. "This is for honor!" he shouted. Lick moved very fast. The tea table went over and Lick was down on the floor in a second. The shot went over his head and Meg screamed. At the same time, Grey Winter shouted out and put her hand on his arm. There was blood on his white shirt. Then more people began to scream and two Winter pulled the man with white hair down onto the door. "Get the police!" somebody shouted. Chapter 7. At the police station. It was 7:30 p.m. Lick and Meg were in the room. At the police station, the man called Vicar was in a different room with three detectives. There was a doctor with him too. Grey Winters was at the hospital. The door opened and a detective came in with 2 cups of coffee. He put them down on the table and turned to go out again. "Detective Edmund," Meg said. "Did the hospital call? Is Craig going to be all right?" "Winters," Detective Edmund said. "Yes, he's going to be okay." "Can I call the hospital now?" asked Meg. "I'd like you to wait," said Edmund. "Detective Kid is going to be here in a minute. He's just coming from the airport." And he looked through the open door. "Ah, here he is now." A second detective came into the room, and behind him was a tall man with dark hair. Meg stood up quickly. "Daddy!" she cried. "What are you doing here?" "The police called me," said Howard Hudson, "and I flew here at once. Detective Kid met me at the airport. Now sit down, Meg. I want you to listen to me." He did not look at Lick. Meg sat down, and her father took her hand. "Meg, last week, Johnny Vicker came to my house. He wanted to talk about his dog." You remember Anna Meg 3 months ago? She jumped top a bridge and Baton and Bad died. She was young, beautiful, rich, and she didn't want to leave. Why? Because she loved a man, and the man took her money, ran away, and left her. And the man was cold. No, said Meg. No. Yes, Meg. Yes, he was cold. Mr. Hollywood. No, shouted Meg. She began to cry. That's right, Miss Hudson, said Detective Kit quietly. To you, he gave the name Grey Winter when Anna Vicker knew him. He was called Winter, but he liked all his the girl friends to call him Mr. Hollywood. He took nearly $50,000 from Anna Vicker, and the was a girl before that. No, it's not true, Meg shouted. It is true, Meg, said her father. Windsor stole his money from Richard Man's daughter. Johnny Vicker loved his daughter. He went to her house in Boston after he died. He read her letter and learned about the money and left with Hollywood. And when he came my house and told him about you, Meg, I said, my daughter got a new boyfriend, and she called him Mr. Hollywood. I don't like him, but I can't stop her. She's going away to meet him next week. I think what can I do? Johnny put his hand on my arm and he said, don't be afraid for your daughter. I'm going to find that man and stop him. Meg said, laughing. Her face was very white. For a minute or two, nobody spoke. Then Detective Edmund said, Vico told us all about it, Miss Hudson. He brought you to Winner and saw you with Nick began to understand with me in the cafe, and Meg called me Mr. Hollywood. However, Hassan looked at me like you're the travel writer, right? Log, said Lick. Vicker nearly killed me. He started me twice, and but Pogo Hassan was not very interested in like he looked his daughter again. He said, I gave him $25,000, said Meg. Only for 2 or 3 months, he said. Then he began to cry again. Well, you can say goodbye to that money, said Hassan angrily. What's going to happen to Vicker? Like asked Detective Edmund. Hospital, I think, said Edmonds. Okay, he shot at you and about 50 people saw him. But he's not a well man. His daughter are going to put him away in a hospital. Howard Hudson stood up. Okay, Meg, I'm going to take you home. My plane is waiting at the airport. Meg followed her father to the door. Then she remembered Lick and turned. I'm sorry, she said. I got you into trouble. I called you Mr. Hollywood. That you were wrong, but I didn't know. It's okay, said Lick. You know everything now, and it's better to learn it now and not later. $50,000 later. Chapter 8. A last smile. Lick took the evening ferry back to Vancouver. He was tired and hungry, so he went down to get some dinner in the ferry restaurant. The restaurant was very busy and there was only one free table. Lick sat down quickly and began to eat. I must get back to work tomorrow, he thought, and forget about million dollar and men with guns. Excuse me, somebody said. Can I sit with you? Rick looked up. There was a pretty girl next to his table. He got up. It is okay, he said. You can have this table. I don't want it. And he began to move away. Please don't go, the girl said. Stay and finish your dinner. She smiled at him. It was a last smile, but Lick knew all about last smiles. I'm not hungry, he said, and he walked quickly out of the restaurant.